today's demo session, we are going to begin with introduction to SAP Business Technology Platform. We are going to talk about the basics of SAP BTP, what SAP BTP is all about, and followed by a live system demo. Our agenda for the demo session today would be to understand who is this training for, what exactly this training is all about, who can attend this training with us on SAP Business Technology Platform, and how this training is going to help me in my company with respect to my current job profile. Quickly, I wanted to check the audio, as some of you are telling the audio is not clear. May I confirm from others, is the audio fine? Please just confirm in the chat. So as I can see, it's all good. So kindly check from your end if your speaker is fine or not. Then we will talk about the concept of what is Cloud Foundry. And then in this episode, I will cover a basic introduction of what is Cloud Application Programming Model, or so-called CAPM. Then we will see a quick demo live in the system, understanding a simple use case, a practical use case from real life, followed by some of the frequently asked questions by all of you, and then live question and answers as part of this journey. As you all aware, BTP is one of the most hot topic today in the market. With the rising demand of BTP consultants, many SAP and non-SAP consultants these days are jumping into SAP BTP. With that, let's try and understand who is this training for and how it can help me. So meet Sumit Ghosh, who's an ABAP developer currently working in a IT company, focusing on building SAP ABAP-based applications. He would like to now understand and deliver new innovations that natively integrate with his existing SAP applications like S/4HANA. His company asked him to build side-by-side extensions on top of SAP BTP. This course is going to help Sumit. Then we have Neha, who is any SAP or non-SAP technical consultant. She's a developer working in market, would like to upskill herself with the pace of changing market, want to work faster with latest development tools like Business Application Studio and frameworks like Cloud Application Programming Model with NodeJS. This training is also going to help Neha. If you want to become a BTP expert, you already have some idea on BTP, but lagging in the confidence to build end-to-end applications which can be delivered to an enterprise, like Stevia Jack, this training is also going to help you, because you will learn developing applications running on BTP using HANA Cloud. HANA Cloud is a database as a service offered in BTP with Java and Node.js technology, which are open source technologies. Then last but not the least, if you are like Mohan, who is working as a SAP administrator today and want to understand how the security in the cloud would look like, how to do administration of your BTP account by creating the required quotas, assigning the services to the BTP account, working with the global account, sub-account, dictionaries, quotas and dev spaces, and managing cloud connector, including the application security. This training is also going to help you. You will also learn how to configure Central Fiori Launchpad, which is now known as SAP Build Work Zone in SAP Business Technology Platform. So all in all, a complete Power Pack course for everyone together. Moving on, let's try and understand the developer persona more in detail. So meet Abraham, who is a 30-year-old IT expert. He's working as a technical advocate. He has done his education as MS Computer Science from a reputed institute. Currently working as a software developer or a SAP enthusiast in a company like Accenture, Deloitte, EY, could be anyone. He has the skill sets of ERP, basics of data structure, and any one programming language. He is very inspired to work in the technologies of SAP. His area of work today is S4HANA, SAP ABAP, Fiori, or as a solution architect, he aspires to develop his skills in the future. His needs are to understand the design and architecture of any BTP-based development system, provide technical guidance to the management because everybody is asking him to build on BTP or do something on BTP in his company, and develop end-to-end cloud-native solutions using SAP BTP's cutting-edge technologies and tools. If these are exactly meeting up your needs as well, you are at the right place. His aim is to build side-by-side extensions to S4HANA by consuming APIs, creating new innovative cloud-native solutions on SAP's business technology platform, and plan strategy to SAP BTP in his company. If these are also aligned with your aims going forward in the future, as you see, there is a big paradigm shift to BTP. Everybody, including your manager, is constantly asking you to learn BTP, build something on BTP. This training is going to certainly help you. Moving on, let's try and understand how BTP will help Abraham. As you already know, Abraham is working as a developer. But in order to start getting into the development, what is exactly he need to get started with? The very first thing Abraham would need is a infrastructure to start developing application. This infrastructure includes networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. Anyone who would like to build an application, the very first thing they need is infrastructure. Your company typically provides this infrastructure in terms of laptop, networking. The group of servers your company have invested millions of dollars to get you onboarded on development. And once that is done within your laptop, you begin to install the necessary platforms like operating system, databases, middleware, and runtimes. So as a development team or a developer, you would need all of this stack of things to get started with the development. And typically to arrange all these things, it may take up to 1 to 2 months. Once upon a time, I wanted to do a pilot project. And in order to do that, it took me 2 months to start that project because I need to arrange all the necessary infrastructure as a company for my employees. And that's when exactly at the end, as a developer, you will start building application with your data. So just to do these two things, you need to arrange entire stack. Now, what if I say arranging this entire stack, the time which it used to take earlier, like 1 to 2 typical months, it can be done within minutes today. Yes, exactly. How? So basically, nowadays, you can rent out a computer online. Exactly. That's exactly what cloud is. So you will go ahead and go to a service provider who will give you an entire infrastructure on a rental basis. And these are called infrastructure as a service. Whereas there are also other providers who will give you the runtime, middleware, database, OS, and tools as a service again, which is called platform as a service. So in this case, Abraham don't need to spend a lot of time to arrange all these things. Rather, these things are being made available quite easily to him on a rental basis. I'll take a simple example. In the past, if I want to watch movies, I would have to first go and arrange a VCR. Then I have to have a television. I need to set up all the electricity, all the connection of VCR with the television, my sound system. And then I need to go out and buy cassettes to play the movie. But nowadays, do we do that? Not really. We just go online on the internet and we buy a subscription for the Netflix or Amazon Prime Video. It's as simple as clicking a mouse button. And within 2 minutes, your subscription gets activated and you can enjoy your favorite shows, TVs, and movies, right? That's a subscription model. So you don't have to own a VCR, you don't have to own a big television or a connection. You can just start streaming on your smartphone any movie or your favorite TV shows. That's called subscription model. And you pay a per month price, let's say $100 a month, rather than owning the entire infrastructure, which will cost you multi-million dollars, perhaps, if you talk about a big company. And that's where the cloud comes into picture. So you can see here we have infrastructure as a service. There are many providers in the market like Amazon, Google, Alibaba, Microsoft Azure, and then we have platform providers also. And that's where exactly SAP comes into picture. So if you map it in the world of SAP, then how it comes is we have a infrastructure provider by Google, Amazon, or Microsoft. And on top of it, SAP have built their platform as a service, which is exactly what BTP is. So you as a development team or a development company who would like to get started with the development, you get a fully ready, reusable service landscape to get started with your development in no time. And that's where as a as a developer Abraham who could now just focus only on application and data and rest all the challenges for infrastructure has been taken care by the underlying platform. And that is why SAP BTP Business Technology Platform. It's a platform as a service which is fully compliant and ready to get started with the development for you. And that's why it becomes extremely important for all the IT experts, SAP experts these days to start working on this platform and understand its intricacies. What benefit does it bring? It brings scalability. If your user base grows from 500 users to 5 million users in no time, you can scale your application. We will learn about scalability in unit number 3 in this training. We have horizontal and vertical scaling of applications. You get elasticity. You can plug and play your hardware anytime. You can choose the available technologies. You don't need to bind and stick to one single technology like in the past. When it comes to SAP, you've got to stick to ABAP every time. But now you have choice of technologies. It opens a whole Pandora box of choosing your own technology of choice with the different types of applications you can build, and then low total cost of ownership. So the initial investment which you do in order to set up your infrastructure is very low. Then you also see there is a thing called Cloud Foundry. What exactly is that? So when SAP were looking forward to build a platform as a service offering, they looked at the market, and in the market they found there is already a couple of guys doing pretty well in this space. And one such company was Cloud Foundry. So rather than reinventing the whole platform, SAP have taken a lot from Cloud Foundry, which is a platform as a service vendor, and it's an open source. And on top of it, SAP have added their own services and catalogs in order to make this platform more robust and accustom it according to SAP customers. We'll talk about Cloud Foundry in the next unit in detail in our training. But just understand infrastructure is by one of these providers. Then platform is a combination of Cloud Foundry and SAP owned services. So in a nutshell, it's a subscription model. It's not pay in advance. Rather it is pay per use or pay per user, just like your Netflix or Amazon Prime subscription to watch movies. Moving on, a quick architecture of SAP BTP Cloud Foundry. It broadly classifies the entire list of offerings into 4 different categories: database and data management, analytics, application development and integration, and intelligent technologies. Anubhav Training have wide range of courses in each of these spaces. When it comes to database and data management, we have SAP HANA and HANA Cloud, which allows you to store massive amount of data, including data lakes you can use, and store and process this massive amount of data in the cloud directly. You have data intelligence, which allows you to configure complex workflows and apply machine learning on your data. We have master data governance and adaptive servers, all for the data management. Then it comes to analytics. When it comes to analytics, they have Analytics Cloud. Anubhav Training also offers dedicated courses on all these modules in case you are interested to see. We have Analytics Cloud to build BI, planning, analytic design of applications. We have Data Warehouse Cloud, which is a option in the cloud for BW. It's a replacement of BW in the cloud. We do have course for that as well, separate course. We have Power BI, we have we have SAP Object BI, POBI. We have planning and consolidation and BW for HANA, all powered by the SAP BTP. Then we have SAP Integration Suite in the application integration topic. And then we have SAP Extension Suite. So please notice this will be our focus of this training this year, because this is where you will learn how to do development of applications from scratch and how to do extension of applications as well using open source technologies. This is a very big area. It also comes with non-SAP and SAP technologies, like we have ABAP based development also possible, and we have non-ABAP based development. The current course focus open source technologies like Java and NodeJS, which is non-ABAP based development. We do have another training called RAP training. You can attend that at anubhavtrainings.com, which is ABAP based also. But here the main focus will be non-ABAP based open source technologies. We have then process orchestration powered by SAP Signavio for building and organizing your end-to-end business processes. Last but not the least comes intelligent technologies. These are powerful tools and technology offerings by SAP to utilize the intelligent options and technologies in the system, which includes robotic process automation, conversational AI, IoT, business services, and RUM. Now moving on, let's understand what is SAP's cloud application programming model. So guys, the main question comes, Anubhav, I'm a developer. What is there for me? If I want to develop an application on BTP as my manager and everybody is saying BTP, 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 BTP. So as a developer, I want to understand how do I build application in SAP BTP. So when it comes to building an application in BTP, we use something called Cloud Application Programming Model. I will talk about Cloud Application Programming Model in detail in coming episodes. In unit number 10, I will start more in detail about it, but today as it's a demo session, I want to show you it in a nutshell. So what is Cloud Application Programming Model? The Cloud Application Programming Model is a framework of languages, libraries, tools for building enterprise-grade applications. So it is a framework. It comes with pre-packaged tools, libraries, and languages. So you have own choice of language and database you can choose. And it comes with a lot of powerful tool. For example, Business Application Studio to build end-to-end cloud native applications, which integrates pretty well with your existing applications. It's a framework. The time is gone when we used to write every single part of our application ourselves, like hashtag include studio.h, hashtag include conio.h. Remember the school days you started C programming? Every small part of the application we used to write. But now we are living in 21st century. The technological advancements have happened, both in terms of technology and also development tools. So SAP brings in this state-of-the-art programming model, which is based on best practices and proven golden path for developers. So you can build with confidence. You don't have to ask your seniors or juniors or colleagues about which technology to use, which option to use, how to do things. They already publish a best practice proven golden path for development. And that's what the CAPM is. All the CAPM based projects, they focus primarily on the domain. So your domain knowledge, your knowledge about functionality will help you a lot rather than focusing on low level technological things. Like you don't have to know how to basically connect your application to database. This will be taken care by the framework itself out of the box. So you don't have to build low level code, low level boilerplate code when you build application. You will see it in the demo today, how fast I'll be able to create a quick application within the demo. So it is a framework based on programming model, which is CDS, Core Data and Services. You will see it in a minute when I go to the system. It supports different languages which are powered by open source technologies like Node and Java. It comes with pre-packaged libraries and kits like SAP CDS and CDS DK. And finally, the tools of choice, you can decide VS Code or Business Application Studio. For your information, I will be covering both as part of our training. So both the tools you will get comfortable when it comes to building application using CAPM. Then comes is the very important thing, what do we see today? So as it's a demo session on BTP, I wanted to show practical use case for all of you in the live session. So meet SuperValue. SuperValue is our customer, one of the biggest retail giant like Walmart in US market. They have lots of stores across different states. And today they have come to me or come to my company for building a small solution for their invoicing management. So what they want, they already have the data of their invoices. They want to store this data in the cloud, and they would want us to build a reporting application on SAP BTP. This is the requirement from the customer side. Now, as you understand the requirement, how to address this requirement. So we will be passing through very simple flow, step by step, line by line to build this application for them. We need to first start with our development tool, and the development tool we will be using is SAP BTP's Business Application Studio. I will show you in the next class how do I set up Business Application Studio from scratch. But as is a demo session, I have already prepared the Business Application Studio environment for myself. In step number 2, I will initialize the project and add a database entity. We will create a database table using the cloud application programming model. And the third step will be to create a service to expose the data out. I will upload a mock data which I've received from one of the store about the invoices, and then I will annotate my entity with additional properties to view a end-to-end application in the output. So what are we waiting? Let's get started. So I'll switch over back to my development tool, which is Business Application Studio. This is how exactly the development tool starts and look like. The very first thing I'll do is right click and show the project explorer here. And you see I've got a project explorer. And now I'll open a folder where I will create my project. So I will open the projects folder. Just like in your computer, you have directories. We also have directories here where you can jump in and start creating your projects. So a project is nothing but a folder in your computer. So the very first thing which I'll be doing, I will be clicking to create a new project. So what I will do, I'll create a new project. Let's call this project as demo cap. So I'm just creating a new project. So this is my project, which is currently empty. As I mentioned in my PPT, CAPM framework comes with a lot of libraries, tools, and languages. So there is a tool called CDS tool. It's called CDS DK. Yes. CDS DK development kit tool, which allows you to quickly generate the skeleton of your project. So as a developer, you don't have to spend a lot of time building the part of your application. So when you start building an application, traditionally, what do? You always start with creation of your database layer, where you create your database artifacts, your database table, data element, domain, all that. On top of this layer, you will build your application logic, your business logic. That is what you do on top of it, your application logic. On top of it, you will build the service layer, which will expose your data over the internet. And finally, you will build the user interface. To do this, you organize all your artifacts in different folders. Now, what if I say all of this will be generated with a click of a button? That will be amazing. And that's the power of the cloud application programming model and its tools. So what I'll do is I'll go to my bash tool and open a terminal. This terminal is integrated just like your command prompt in your computer. And I will change my directory to demo cap. This is the directory which is my project. I go inside my project directory and I run a command called cds init. Hey computer, please initialize my project, and voila, look at that. It has created automatically the skeleton of your project. Remember, the time is gone when you used to write hashtag studio.h, hashtag conio.h. That time is gone, guys. We are living in 21st century. The tools are very powerful. The technologies have been advanced a lot, which will help you to become an expert on BTP. Moving on, now we are good. So our next step will be to start creating database table or so-called entity. So let me create a new file and I call it as data model.cds. Now you can notice that every file in your project will end with .cds. The core data services. I will explain about this concept of CDS in unit number 10 in detail. But for demo, let's create a file, CDS file, where I will define my entity. I can right click and say open this file as a graphical editor. So it will open a low code, no code environment for you where you can start creating your database table quite easily. So believe me, this training, even a non-technical consultant can also attend because we will be using a lot of low code, no code tools to build our end-to-end application. And you would not need to be a rocket scientist to develop it. I add an entity now, which is nothing but my database table. It's pretty graphical. And now I can start adding my columns. So what I've got today is this data set, which I've received from SuperValue Superstore, and it has got the invoicing data. So what we will do, we will create our columns also in exactly same name and same manner, one by one. You can clearly make out invoice number is the primary key for this data set. So let's start creating the data. So I come back, I say invoice number. So invoice is my first column name. So I enter my column name, invoice. It's of type string. And let's say maximum length is 100. Then what next? I will add more property to my content and click OK. I add one more property. Next property is branch, city, customer type, product type. So let's add branch. Again, it's a string, city, customer type, product type. Then we have the price, quantity, total, and payment. Price, quantity, total, and payment. Let's put the price will be a decimal or 5 of 2. Quantity will be an integer and total will be a decimal again. Of let's say 8, 2. Quantity is integer, sorry. And this will be decimal. 82. And finally, we also have the payment terms, how the payment was made. Was it via cash, credit card, or e-wallet? So that's the information I have. I click on OK, and voila, you can see it has created my table. Pretty easy, just like S11, isn't it? Let's provide the entity name. So let's call it as DP, data product, super value. invoices. That's my table. So this is a very simple example of an entity. When we go in our training, we will see more complicated examples like working with composition, association, joins between multiple tables, building the views, using it for analytics. Lots of amazing use cases are waiting for you as part of this journey and this training. Okay, so that is our complete setup. Now we are good. The table is defined and it's the time to deploy the table. Now, before I deploy the table, in order to test, I also need the data. So I would want to load this table with the mock data, with the demo data at the time of deployment. So what CAPM says, create a folder called CSV. And in this folder, you upload a CSV file with the same name as your table name, along with the namespace. So I right click and open this in a code edit text editor. And let me add a namespace. Let's call it as Anubhav. So Anubhav is my namespace for my table. I'll explain the namespace concept in unit number 11 in detail. This then have a table called DP super value invoice. So what SAP says, you upload a file with your namespace dash the table name.csv in the CSV folder. And CAPM framework is so smart, it will automatically pick the data from your CSV file and upload it in the table when you deploy the table. So what I will do now, I will just go ahead to my computer and I will be using this file, which I am showing you as part of my business application studio. So what I will do is I'll switch over back to my computer folder where the file is. Here it is, DP supermarket sales, and I drag and drop it to the business application studio. So this is my demo data. So as a developer, when you're building application during the time of building testing, you would need test data, right? So that is what it is here. So now let's rename this to Anubhav dash the table name DP super value invoices. So that's the name you have to give it so that you can deploy. So now it's time that we can start deploying our app. But one last thing I want to do is build a service. So I'll go to the SRV module and here I will create one more file called myservice.cds. And we will create a service on top of my table. So first of all, I will say I will use my data model, which is named in the DB folder. So in my database folder, there is a data model and it has got a namespace called Anubhav. And now what I will do is I'll define a service. Let's define the name of the service as Anubhav service. And then I will just start consuming a database table, which we have in our data model. And the name of the database table is DP super value invoice. So I will just expose a service. So I will just go ahead and mention that I want to expose this service out. So a service is nothing but it's a web-based interface which exposes your data over the internet. That is what actually service usually do, right? So what we will do, we will define now a service and that service will expose our data on the internet. So this is exactly my goal is to create a service. So to define the service, there is a special syntax called entity as projection. So let's define an entity in the service and let's name it as invoices, invoice set. And I will say, please take the data from my database table and it is DP super value invoice. So we just created a database table and we created a service. Our next step is to deploy all these artifacts to a database. So first of all, what happens if you notice in the generated project, they create a small file, a small project with a lightweight database called SQLite. SQLite is a local file-based database which gets created automatically as a dependency over here in the project. So now I need to install that database and for which I will run a command called npm install. I will explain what is npm install does in the unit number 3 more in detail. So Just understand that we are now installing all our dependencies, and one such dependency is a database. Database is a SQLite database in the cloud, which I'm using right now to just store my table and my data. And once it is done, we will run CDS deploy command to SQLite. And now this deployed my table. You can see it has created a local database. You can see DB SQLite file. This is where it created a small file-based database, and in that database it created my table, and in that table it has uploaded the data from this file also, because we have followed the CAPM framework format. As a result of it, we are ready to run our project now, and I will run a command cds run. Now you hear this cds many times. It's a very important and powerful concept, and I would need at least 2 hours to explain this concept. And that's the reason we will do this particular CDS topic in Unit 11 in a detailed session. Now you can see my app is running, and I can follow the link and my service will open now. And there you go. You remember we created an invoice set service. And if I click on that, I should see my data. Wow, superb. This is my invoice data coming on the internet now. So this is a natively integrated cloud application. But perhaps as a user, you may not like this data in this format. So as a user, you want to do a look at an application. So here we have a Fiori app preview, which will automatically generate a simple Fiori application for you to view all the data. Yes. So you will see it in a minute. There you go. You can see it has started the preview. I can now click on settings icon to load all my columns, to display all my columns data, which I have in my table. And I click on go button. There you go. Wow, look at that. That's my data. Yes. And now what I will do is I'll go to adapt filter. I can add city, for example, and I can say, I want to see that city data for Amchi, Mumbai. So I just enter Mumbai. We don't have the data. I want to enter from Miami. And there you go. So without too much of coding, you can see you are able to build a beautiful application which can do show a report of all the data to the user. That's the power of the CAPM framework. You can Excel export the data. You can search, slice and dice the data, add multiple search criterias. All of this comes out of the box. In the past, we used to write coding for every single bit of it. Yes. Wow. So this is how exactly the concept of working with CAP first CAP application works. So that's how exactly within just 20 minutes I was able to create a table, a service, and on top of it a application preview you were able to see. But you can imagine after you complete 40 hours what most you can actually do. Having said that, let me move to some of the FAQs asked by many of you over the email to our channel. So what are the different FAQs asked by all of you? So do I need to have any prior knowledge on BTP Anubhav or on Cloud Foundry to learn and join this course? No. We will cover the Cloud Foundry and BTP Foundation in this course for you. You don't need to have any prior knowledge on BTP. Even you never heard about BTP, it is still fine. The second question comes, how much of Java and Node.js knowledge is required to learn BTP, guys? So only basic programming skill is required. If you are a basis consultant, make sure that you also have basic programming skills to learn BTP. You don't need to have any Java knowledge or Node.js knowledge because I will cover basics of Java and frameworks, including Node.js along with the tools for you. So this training will include basics, those who are especially coming from ABAP background, never worked on Node.js, never worked on Java, don't worry. As long as you have the zeal to learn, you are a technical enthusiast, and you have a push from your company and manager to learn BTP, that's enough. That's enough. And you have motivation to learn, of course. Then you can learn this course. You don't need to have any prior knowledge. I will cover basics of Java and Node.js as part of this training for you. I am an ABAP consultant. Can I learn BTP? Yes, you must learn BTP also, because all the future cloud projects, all the companies are slowly, they are adopting BTP. And the BTP knowledge is a must for all the developers working in the field of SAP. Will this training focus on BTP or CAPM? This training focus on both. BTP is the platform, CAPM is the framework. Yes, they are not alternative of each other. They are together. So this course covers everything together. Anubhav, I am a basis person. Will the coding be so difficult for me? Nothing is difficult if you decide to go for it. If you're thinking that the industry is changing, so as the requirements, and so as your manager is asking you to learn, you want to basically go ahead and accelerate your growth in your career. With your existing knowledge and existing career path which you've chosen, you do not see a big scope coming in the near future. You don't see a salary rise. But as a consultant, you would want to increase your salary in coming months and years. Certainly, this course is going to help you. That's the bottom line. And of course, there is no pain and no gain, right? So you have to take a pain of learning, and that's when the gains will start coming to you. So that is something which you have to do. Just by thinking about or seeing the TechEd lectures is not going to help, right? We have to take some concrete actions to work towards it to start incrementing our salary. Will this course cover integration suite? No. If you want to learn integration suite, there is a separate training for that offered by anubhavtrainings.com. You can send us an email and join that course. It's called CPI. You can join that separately. How much deep knowledge of BAS is required? The Business Application Studio. So no prior experience on Business Application Studio is required. I will show you setup and administration of BAS tool, also the VS Code tool as part of this training. So you don't need to have any prior knowledge. What about the server access? So guys, the good news is SAP is offering free server access for BTP. There's a BTP trial available for 90 days, which we can use for this entire training. That is exactly for developers for learning, training, and demonstration purpose. So without worry, you all can learn and understand BTP end to end at part of this training. Along with that, all the tools which are required I'll cover, which include CLI, VS Code, Cloud Build Tool, MBT tool. All of that I will cover, and they're all free for learning and training purpose. Do we also cover Cloud Connector and Cloud Application Security in this course? Yes. Both the topics of security, which includes XSUAA, application security, app router, managed app router, HTML5 repositories, they all will be covered along with backing services, service keys, and BTP cloud offerings. We will cover all of that as part of this training. Is RAPM also covered in this training? RESTful Application Programming Model? No. The RAPM is a separate course available at anubhavtrainings.com. You can join that. How much of this course we spend time on CAPM? So almost 60% time, 50 to 60% time we will spend on CAPM, 30% time based on Java-based development, 10% time on administration, and 10% time on foundation and basic topics like basics and setup and administration. So this will be the structure typically for this entire training, how we will be covering. You don't have knowledge on Node.js, don't worry. We will be covering that as part of this training. Will you cover the SAP Build Work Zone? Yes. SAP Build Work Zone is also part of our course. Do I need prior knowledge on OData? No. I will cover the complimentary OData session for all of you. Anubhav, the timing does not suit me. Can I take this training in video mode? Yes. So in case you are from European countries, it is a midnight for you, you can't wake up early, and you want to still attend the latest and up-to-date batch, no problem. You can opt for video mode training. Every session will be recorded and we will publish that in our training blog. So in case you miss a class or you could not attend due to timing constraints, you can watch the video at later point of time. And whenever your questions, come back to the live class to ask the questions. What tool do I need to practice this course? So we will need Bash tool, the VS Code tool, and the Cloud Foundry CLI tool. All three I will show you in the next class how to set up these tools. You're a fresher, you have no idea about where these tools are, how do they work? Don't worry, I will cover that in the next episode for all of you. You all will be able to set up these tools quite easily. How to join this training, Anubhav? To join this training, you can just email us on contact@anubhavtrainings.com to join this training. That's the simplest process to avail for this training. Just drop us an email on contact@anubhavtrainings.com to sign up for this course. Having said that, now it's time to wrap the demo session today and open up the floor for questions so that one by one I can help answering your questions regarding the training, regarding this BTP training. The timing for this training is same timing what you're attending the demo, 7 to 9 a.m. India time in the morning on weekends. Saturday 7 to 9, Sunday 7 to 9. 2 hour on Saturday and 2 hour on Sunday. So total 4 hour on each weekend. This will continue for 10 weekends. So total 40-hour course. Believe me, I will deliver more than 40 hour, what I promise. You can also go ahead and check the course content about this course online on our website anubhavtrainings.com.